Welcome to Small and Gutsy, a podcast featuring interviews in nonprofit and social impact organizations under $10 million. My name is Laura Witkoff, and I'm excited to be your host. My hope is that you love the stories as much as we do, and perhaps you will find needed services, a job, volunteer, or donate. Feel free to pass along any valuable information to others, and remember to send me the name of any organization you'd like featured. We are launching our series with an organization near and dear to me and to so many others, as most of us have been or known someone who has been impacted by cancer. There are just too many folks I know to dedicate this particular podcast. So I'd like to dedicate this podcast to those thriving with the disease to keep thriving, because it gives the rest of us hope to find a way forward. So that being said, in episode number 1, I have the privilege of meeting folks from Tower Cancer Research Foundation. In 1996, a few dedicated physicians, patients, and volunteers got together with a deep commitment to fund high-impact research and clinical trials, and of late, precision medicine, to significantly impede and wishfully eradicate cancer, independent of hospitals, universities, and governmental monies or influence. This resulted in the approval of 15 new cancer drugs and the expansion of treatment options for cancer patients all over the world. Each year, the Tower Cancer Research Foundation awards different scientific grants, from 1-year $100,000 career development grants to 5-year $500,000 senior investigator grants to $1 million multidisciplinary discovery funds. Since the original concept, Tower Cancer Research Foundation has moved into direct services, offering free educational social support, nutrition, and other programs through Magnolia House, as well as awarding community partner grants to other nonprofits in the Southern California area, offering support programs to cancer survivors and their families. Much of their fundraising success is attributed to those early visionaries, as well as the development of 2 key groups, the Magnolia Council and the Cancer-Free Generation. Today, I've invited Tower's Executive Director, Linda David, board member, founder of Magnolia Council and House, Nancy Mishkin, and board member and president of Cancer-Free Generation, Suzanne Asherson, to join and share their passion about Tower Cancer Research Foundation. So let's get started. I have just one initial question to sort of open us up with, which is really share with us your passion about Tower Cancer Research Foundation.
For me, as executive director, I have the privilege and honor of interacting with extraordinary human beings that exhibit every day of their life courage and resiliency. For me, it's a privilege to work somewhere that provides you perspective for the rest of your life as well. So whenever I feel like there's something going on in my life that seems daunting, it's easy to return back to the people I get to meet every day at my office and put my own issues in perspective and see how strong and courageous the people I get to be around are each and every day.
Beautifully shared, Linda. Nancy or Suzanne?
Yeah, so my passion with Tower Cancer Research Foundation is that it is truly a silver lining for me during my breast cancer journey. And it has continued to be a silver lining for me as a thriver of breast cancer. So it gave me hope, it gave me a community, it gave me passion to be able to pay it forward and to help others.
Suzanne, when you talk about silver linings, can you say, without, I don't want you to reveal something you're uncomfortable with, but I think people would love to hear, what does that mean for you? And how did Tower kind of create that so that you could continue to thrive?
So you want to know a little bit more of my story? Because I'm happy to.
Sure, or how, yeah, whatever feels comfortable.
All right. So I was diagnosed with breast cancer with a 16-month-old baby at home. And man, was I scared. I immediately got into the best doctors, one of them being the famous on this podcast, Dr. Philomena McAndrew. And while my life was shattered, I knew I was going to pick it up and put one step in front of the other as I went through everything that I needed to go through as a 32-year-old young mother. Chemotherapy, double mastectomies and reconstruction, 33 rounds of radiation, a full hysterectomy. And so it actually was during one of my last chemo sessions that I picked up a flyer just outside of before going into my chemo. And it was for a speaker series that was being hosted by Cancer Free Generation, the Young Leadership Division of Tower Cancer Research Foundation. And it happened to be on skin cancer. And I came home and I told my husband, we have to go to this. And he was like, you're in the middle of chemo. I'm like, it's okay. I won't touch anybody. We have to go because I am a pale lady that wears sunscreen every day. And I'm married to a South African who has dark skin and does not. My motive was, you're going to wear sunscreen because I don't want any more cancer in this family. And so we show up at this event. It opened up so many doors for me because I remember meeting people, whether they had cancer or they had people that they love that had or have cancer. There was a community. There was a feeling of commitment to really raising money for cancer to go away, for cancer research. And so when I say that Tower Cancer Research Foundation is a silver lining for me, what I mean is that during some of the hardest parts of my life, some of the darkest days, I was able to find within Tower a place where I felt a community of people who were similar to me, who had a passion similar to me, and who wanted to make a difference. So it really opened up my avenues, or it furthered along that chapter of my life to give me some fulfillment that I, as a breast cancer patient, as a breast cancer survivor, as a breast cancer thriver, I have a purpose, and that purpose is to give back.
What a great kind of circle experience of being diagnosed, having to deal with that fear, and then being able to put it into action through the community that was built within the Tower structure, within the Tower Cancer Research Foundation structure, and through the Cancer Free Generation. Thank you, Suzanne. Nancy.
My history with Tower started a long time ago. It started in 2004 when I had cancer, when I was diagnosed with cancer. And I had surgery at St. John's. And after my surgery, I had to find an oncologist. The oncologist they referred me to, I had very, very bad experiences with them. One of the oncologists walked in and read a file, and it wasn't me. The other one came in very late. I had to wait almost 4 hours. I didn't want that. I was frightened. When you're diagnosed with cancer, you're frightened. And you want someone to take care of you. And I remember coming home and I was talking to a girlfriend who was one of the founders of Tower. This was early on. And she said, there's a board member that we have in this foundation that we just started who's a doctor, and she's wonderful. I want you to call and get an appointment with her. And her name was Philomena McAndrews. At 10 o'clock at night, I got a call from Philomena McAndrews that same day. She spoke to me for about an hour. I went in to see her the next day. And the next day, when I walked into her office, her arms were open and she walked towards me and she gave me a hug and she said, "You're going to be okay." That's all I wanted to hear. You need someone on your side. And from that moment on, I just adored her. And she had all the patience in the world for me and all of my questions. So anyways, I became her patient. And then the board had asked my husband and I to become board members. We accepted. It was wonderful. We had a great time. They were doing trials at that time. We were raising money for phase 1 trials. And the doctors that we were working with were Cedars doctors, but that whole group left Cedars to form an independent foundation, which was Tower Cancer Research Foundation. while I was on the board, I had friends whose husbands had cancer, family members had cancer, and their doctors happened to be on the board of Tower. And they'd come up to me and say, we'd like to do something. Is there anything we can do to give back? We're so happy. A lot of people couldn't afford to give a lot of money. I decided to start a group called the Magnolias. I got some members to come in, girls that I had worked with before, and I thought it was a perfect place to put the volunteer ladies. Magnolias lasted, and it was great. And then when I was done with my treatment, I was still frightened. I wanted to meet people that had cancer, like I had cancer. It's very hard to talk to somebody who has not sat across from a doctor that tells you you have cancer. I mean, there's a feeling inside. And the only people I felt that really understood it were people who have gone through what I went through. And so I was thinking, and I talked to Linda about it, we were looking for properties in the area. Maybe we could rent. I wanted to call it the Magnolia House. I wanted a place where you could go and have a cup of coffee and sit with people who've been through what you've been through, a place where we could take books out or take funny movies out or have lectures and do exercise classes. I had this whole thing in my head. But it was impossible because we didn't know where to do it. Well, in the meantime, we moved. Tower had to move. We moved into our new facility, and at the time, we decided to do a large room where we could hold lectures and hold things. And Linda came up to me one day and she said, Nancy, this is your Magnolia House. This is it right here. And she was absolutely right. So the Magnolias raised enough money, called it the Magnolia House. We have classes. I don't know what the numbers are today, but we had over 100 classes last year. And I believe about 10,000 people participated in those classes. And it's gone kind of national since COVID and what we have to do for COVID.
So I think it's really interesting that you started as a foundation addressing the medical side and precision medicine and high impact on the research side, and have done an amazing job of contributions globally. And you've added since that time to the community partner efforts and to the in-house programs. So you offer services, some direct services, as well as the research aspect. I want to take a moment and go to the research piece. Not a lot of people understand or know what precision medicine is. If one of you would take a moment and sort of share that. I know none of us are doctors, or at least none that I know.
I can try. So precision medicine was really founded in the study of molecular genetics. So I think it was like the year 2000 when they unraveled the genome and could look at each of our genes individually. And over time, that has given us the power to look at cancer differently. So older school was, you have a tumor in your breast, so you have breast cancer, or tumor in your liver, and you have liver cancer. But what we've learned is that each tumor is unique by its genetic makeup, and that the most effective way to treat is to understand the changes in the genetic makeup of the cells that is causing the cancer to grow and divide and take over your body. So somebody's tumor may end up in the breast, but it may not be as similar as another breast cancer tumor. People refer to it also as personalized medicine. It is an approach that is unique to your tumor mutation and the mutations that are unique to your cancer type. So instead of referring necessarily as much to the cancer by body part, it is more about referring to the genetic changes that have occurred in your cells that are causing the tumors to grow. What it lends itself to is the opportunity to be more sparing of offering a one-shot chemotherapy that is destructive and has a tremendous amount of collateral damage, and a more focused approach to how to treat your cancer. And again, I'm not a medical professional. I can just tell you that it's much more targeted, it's much more precise. And the more we understand about the genetic mutations that are going on in our body, the more likely we are to have the most effective treatment that is individualized to the patient.
And as a foundation, as an independent foundation, what speaks to me is that you can have cutting edge research because that's what you're funding. And this is a perfect example of that. And you also do direct services and partner with organizations that are already doing a fabulous job in terms of services for those thriving with cancer. I like your word, Suzanne. I love that. As well as their family members who are impacted as well. If you were to highlight, and I know this is an unfair question, but if you were to highlight, or you yourself have participated in a particular event, like Suzanne had mentioned, going to a lecture or a particular class, or Linda, as the executive director, you might know the more popular ones. Will you share with us what some of those are?
I can start, but my opportunity to visit as many of these classes as I would like is limited. Most recently, we are now offering 130 different classes each and every month. And from 2019 to 2020, we saw not only a 50% increase in the offerings, but a 50% increase in the number of attendees. So Nancy was right. In 2019, we had about 10,000 participant visits. In 2020, that number's now at 15,000. It is, as Suzanne calls it, a silver lining. When the classes had to move online, one of the remarkable things that happened is we were able to offer classes to people in the most convenient way possible in their own homes. And we weren't held back by geography. And even though it was never a conscious attempt to really expand our wings beyond our Southern California neighborhoods, we now see people joining our classes from across the country, and in some cases outside of our own country. And the silver lining is that we will, now that we've learned how to provide these opportunities online, we will, I don't think, ever go back to a model that only includes in-person classes. I think there will always be some sort of hybrid piece that allows people to enjoy our classes in their home. If COVID has taught us anything, it is the destruction that is caused by isolation, and we're all feeling it, and cancer patients even more so. I think the beautiful thing about offering these classes online is that we've built a community of people who can join together and really provide a lifeline to those who are struggling with the feeling of isolation. As far as my favorite class, we are now doing Friends and Family Day. We did the first one last year, but we're hoping to continue the trend. So while I would never want to take a spot away from somebody on Friends and Family Day, I'm allowed to attend. And I got to start my day with a beautiful meditation led by Allison Crowley, one of our instructors. And it set the tone for my entire day. And I could not have been more grateful than to be able to begin my day with a little meditation and focus for dealing with the rest of my day. So I would have to say that's my personal favorite, although I know that step aerobics and belly dancing always seem to have the longest wait list.
No, it's beautiful. Suzanne, is there a particular favorite for you in terms of?
Yeah, so I have two things that come to mind. First of all, we have the Day of Beauty for Cancer Thrivers. And it's a wonderful event that gets put on once a year. Cancer Free Generation helps to host that event. It's complimentary. Think of it as a day at the spa and the hair salon and the nail salon and the makeup artist all combined together, giving complimentary services to women undergoing cancer treatment and men undergoing cancer treatment and those that are post-treatment as well. I remember being probably one of the just about 10 attendees and maybe the first one when I was going through my journey. To now, the last one we hosted pre-COVID had over 150 women. And it's one of my favorite days because I'll speak as a cancer survivor. It was the first day that I literally looked at myself back in the mirror and said, oh my gosh, it's me again. You know, there's something magical, therapeutic, medicinal about putting on makeup and getting your hair done. A little lip gloss goes a long way. And so I see that at this event. So that's one of my favorites because I see sometimes some women walk in and it reminds me of myself walking in and then walking out. Your walk out as a different person. So that's definitely one of my favorites. Again, it goes back to that community feel that I love. And then I'll also share that another one of my favorite is another event that Cancer Free Generation hosts, and it's our Ante-Up Celebrity Poker and Casino Night, or game night. And that's one of my favorites because it's fun. It's exciting. You get people of all ages in the room together, whether you're playing poker or you're there to have a fun, enjoyable night. It is, as much as I love the event itself, what I love more is the next morning. And the next morning is when I have people calling me, maybe people that I introduced to the foundation, saying, wow, tell me more. Your foundation, Tower Cancer Research Foundation, seems so different than some of the other philanthropies out there. And so that's one of my favorite things to do, is to continue to talk about why it is that we're different, why we're better, what makes us stand out, because there's really a lot.
There's really a lot. You said it beautifully, both, again, events, activities, things that make you feel whole again as part of this community. And I actually can share that I participated in a community event with Project Angel Food that you all support as one of your grantees, preparing foods for folks who have cancer that it gets delivered. It was one of the most amazing events that I got to participate in. So I thank Tower Cancer Research Foundation for including me in that. It was absolutely amazing.
We have Cancer Free, we have Magnolias, we have that, we had walks. What has happened is we have a community, and a community is a healer. When you are all in it together and you can feel it, and we're offering so many things. We offer lectures are for very, very sensitive subjects. And I know Linda and I have sat in the back where it's taken time for people to participate because they're not sure if they can. And once they do, it's amazing what comes out and what opens up. The community part of this is so important. And I think we're very unique in what we do. We offer so many things to our community. We started off with trials, and now we're doing this. And I don't know, Suzanne, I know how Suzanne feels. I've gotten so much more out of it than I give. My husband was diagnosed with cancer while we were board members, and the board rallied around us. It was a very, very difficult time for me, and I was so happy to be a part of Tower Cancer with the love and the support that I got. It was just unbelievable, but we do that for everyone. Anytime we find out someone is sick, we rally around that person or rally around the family, and I think we are a very, very special foundation, and we're doing fabulous, fabulous work, and I'm delighted to be part of it.
I think one of the things that Nancy beautifully highlighted was the fact that this is a bold and ambitious foundation, but because we're still community-based, we are flexible and we can take advantage of opportunities and be creative and responsive to the community and come up with unique programs. And I think that's one of the things I really enjoy about working with this board, is because they think creatively. They're open to new and fresh ideas as long as it benefits our community, and they're very supportive of innovative ideas. And I think that's extraordinary. And I think the foundation, even though we're a community-based foundation, we have the opportunity to be globally impactful, because what gets done in Southern California, what gets discovered here, ends up being decimated throughout the globe. And we're blessed with having so many phenomenal institutions in our backyard. To be able to support that local talent is something that has always been really important to our board and a differentiating fact for the foundation.
Yeah, beautifully said. Suzanne, did you look like you were going to add? Or?
Oh, I mean, if I were to add on to what Linda just said perfectly, is that That's one of the things that really continues to draw me to the organization, is that there's so many different organizations that you could join, even in Southern California. But what organization can you join where you have a voice? And I feel that as a volunteer, as a member, as a board member, you have a voice when you join Tower Cancer Research Foundation. And, whether that voice is, I have an idea of an event I would like to roll with, or this type of research really speaks to me, so let's fund this type of research. Like, I think it's amazing that we get to go as an independent foundation and fund doctors all over the local area, because we're able to pick and choose the very best. And then what's even more exciting is you get to see where that seedling money to go to those young, enthusiastic researchers continues to grow, and all of those, the medication, the treatment plans, watching money go into millions as those young researchers, their research gets to take off because of our help in getting them started.
I think the other thing that Suzanne really highlighted, and I think is really important, is the impactful nature of what we do, especially with those career development grants. And in the $3.5 million that we've put into just those young developing minds, we've been able to track over $50 million of additional generated cancer research dollars. And while we'll never be Stand Up to Cancer with $100 million dream teams, I can tell you that we are good stewards with the money that we receive, and we leverage it to have the most impactful results possible. And none of that could be possible without, the support that we've received from the generous people in our community. And I feel like we've really earned a reputation of being good stewards of our donors' money.
Absolutely. No question, which is part of why we want to feature you here, is so that more people can learn about you, understand that as an independent foundation, you really, the majority of the money is coming in, going out, and doing amazing things, both in the community and for research, and with programs that you do in-house.
I think it was decided early on by the board, and from Nancy's early days and Suzanne as well. We didn't necessarily want to endow this disease. We wanted to be impactful. We all know friends and family who just simply don't have the time to wait around, and we want our money working immediately. We want answers yesterday. Our friends and families rely on that, and we've lost too many. It's not a time to be passive. One thing I love so much about Nancy is that she's aggressive. And I think when you deal with a disease that is as complex and crazy as cancer, you can't be passive. You need to be ambitious, and you need to be aggressive, and you need to bring the fight, and we do that through our board, who are bold visionaries, I think.
And as I introduce this podcast, it really is dedicated to all of those who are thriving. And I learned rather recently that my 22-year-old son has a very dear friend, 22, diagnosed with cancer and now fighting and needing bone marrow transplant. So it affects everybody. I certainly know it's affected certainly personally in my family, but even as you pointed out, Suzanne talked about being very young with her diagnosis, and then here's a 22-year-old young man. So as always with the Small and Gutsy podcast, we have a quick round of gutsy questions. So here's the first one. If saying money isn't an option, what is at the top of your wish list for Tower Cancer Research Foundation?
I was going to say passionate philanthropist.
Yes. Well, I also feel that it's very important for people to find out what we're doing, and the fact that we are a community, and a community does heal. If it weren't for the money, we couldn't do what we do. except that we're not a black hole, and you can give us your money and you can see what it does. And you have to, I think it's very important to know that the people who are doing all of this, besides the office, of course we couldn't do it without the office, are all volunteers. I just love the fact that we are a little family and we look out for each other, and that's worth more than a lot money. You know, when you know that you have support from friends and family and an organization, it's healing.
It
healing.
sounds like at the top of that is spread the word. So spread the word. Oh, Suzanne, go.
My 2 words are join us. Join us. If you're young, join Cancer Free Generation. If you want to, shop and do luncheons, join the Magnolias. If you want to go to beautiful galas, the Tower Board. If you are a patient, a survivor, join the Magnolia House. There's something for everyone. And so, I would say pick up the phone and join us. Whoever answers it will be able to steer you to the group that you will connect with.
So here's your next question. If you were to think of a song that describes Tower Cancer Research Foundation, what would it be?
Staying alive.
Okay, wait, one at a time.
Did you hear what I said?
Oh, say it again, Nancy.
Staying alive.
Staying alive. I love it. John Travolta. Okay. Linda.
I was going to say Heroes by David Bowie, my favorite.
Love it. Suzanne.
I'm going to say one that nobody will know unless you're at the Tower Gala. It's the Tower of Hope, sung by Brooke.
That's beautiful. Now, then they'll have to find it and listen to it, right? On YouTube. Great. Okay. I think you've already answered this question, but if there's any other answers to this, I'm asking it anyway. What makes your organization gutsy? Because it is.
I think the organization is very bold and ambitious. I feel like there's not any idea that has a sound financial backing that couldn't be or wouldn't be explored. It almost becomes a bit of a joke to say, be careful what you wish for or what you put out there, because oftentimes it's now your responsibility to get it done. But I also love that about the board. We don't shy away from a challenge. When COVID hit, we were all really scared. Like, I wasn't sure how we were going to make payroll, never mind, the financial numbers for the year. But in true Tower style, we just put our head down. We came up with solutions. The problems didn't stop us; they inspired us. And because of that, we were incredibly successful in 2020. I could not be more grateful. We learned lessons that will stay with us for the rest of their lives. I think problems spur innovation, right? So I feel like we now know how to do virtual events, and we know that people didn't step away; they stepped up to help us. And to me, that means that our mission resonates with them, that what we are in the community is important and valued. And that will stay with me, and that will stay with the foundation for years to come.
Yeah, you do a lot with a little.
People, I've been told by several people that when I approach and ask for something, that they guarantee that the person's going to say yes, because I'm so passionate about what we do. That if they say no, they're insulting me. So they have to say yes.
Nancy.
What is something that outsiders or even insiders may not know about Tower Cancer Research Foundation?
I think a lot of them don't know anything about us. They know that we exist, but they don't really know what we do.
I think that people don't necessarily understand the depth and breadth of the offerings of the foundation. So people may know that we do patient support programs, but they probably don't know that we do offer 130 different classes every month, or that we have 15,000 participant visits, or that we expand the reach of the foundation by providing community partner grants that really focus on underserved communities. So we understand that not everybody comes to Beverly Hills, not everybody can reach us here, and being able to provide services in communities that are beyond our geographical reach, it has always been really important to the foundation and also to the board to be able to provide services in areas where people wouldn't typically be able to have access to the same types of programming has always been important to the board. And finally, that everything that we offer in the community is without charge, is 100% free, including parking, so that regardless of your economic situation, that we provide services. And it's never been more needed than in a year like 2020.
The philosophy early on was that no one should be turned away if they need us. And if they need us right away. And that was our philosophy from the very beginning.
Yeah. I know that you have celebrities that participate. So this last question, you may or may not have anybody in mind, but if you could get one celebrity or influencer to endorse or talk about Tower Cancer Research Foundation, who would it be? You never know who's listening.
I don't think there's one. I'd like to say anybody who has had a personal experience with cancer that has resonated with them, they are more than welcome. I think the more we share experiences, the more we normalize it, the more we can reach out to our community and provide a place that is safe and meets the needs of our community. So I would say if you've been touched by cancer, you have a home with us.
And I would add on, if they would like to know how their involvement can, be beneficial for them and for everyone involved, we can hook them up with other celebrities who have been there for us, and they will share how they consider us their charity of choice.
That's wonderful. That's great. How can folks reach you? Really important. It's going to be on my website. It'll be on the podcast, but help people get to you.
You can learn more about Tower through towercancer.org. I think the website's always a great place to start. Our phone number is 310-299-8470. There is always somebody who will answer the phone. Regardless of COVID, we've all forwarded our phones to our cell phones. So we tend to answer 24/7 now. But I feel like in these days where they all kind of meld together, and weekends from weekdays, they all feel about the same. I feel like Tower staff has stepped up and really provided valuable information to anyone who needs it. The staff has worked diligently through these very challenging times. Everyone set up home offices and have done a remarkable job in keeping the services moving forward and keeping the fundraising moving forward so that we can meet the needs of the community. So frontline, website, Suzanne?
And social media.
Thank you, Suzanne. It's your age, not mine. I'm sorry, I don't go there first.
I often tell people that cancer doesn't stop with COVID. COVID, is important, but cancer's still there, affecting so many people. And I don't know if one day we'll ever have a cure, but we may have a pill that we can take in the morning like we do for other things that could keep whatever is going on in our bodies at bay. And that's my hope. We have lost so many wonderful, wonderful people to cancer. And they're our heroes because of them, because of the trials that they went through. And a lot of them didn't make it. The next people that got that same cancer because of the trials that they went through, what they found out in research can help the next person. So what we're doing is very, very important. And I hope one day we'll see a light at the end of that tunnel so we can move on to other things and not have to worry so much about something that's eating us up inside.
Yeah, it's true. So I just want to take a moment before I close out the podcast and thank Tower Cancer Research Foundation for the amazing work that you bring not only to Southern California, but really globally with your innovative, cutting-edge research, your programs, your community partners, and just stepping up, as you all said, both with your board members, with all of the volunteers, with your amazing staff. And I personally want to thank Linda, Suzanne, and Nancy for spending time with me today to really share insights into Tower Cancer Research Foundation And we hope that our listeners have found this really informative, interesting, and to spread the word. Our blog of these small and gutsy nonprofits and small social impact organizations can be found in the organizational stories section of the Intrinsic Group website, so that we can continue to link clients, volunteers, future employees, and especially, as we've talked about today, donors to this small but mighty network. Of course, we can't take responsibility outside of our own vetting of the organizations we interview. So before you sign on to support or work for them, we encourage you to do your own due diligence and research them as well. We just want you to learn about the small and gutsy nonprofit and social impact organizational sector so they can spread their story and their impactful work. I want to thank my partners in this endeavor, the Intrinsic Group staff and volunteers, my co-producer, sound engineer, and composer, Pavel Franson, my graphic designer, Nate Addy. Please check out their bios on the Intrinsic website, and all the folks, friends, and family who have guided and inspired me. And mostly, thank you for listening. If you like this podcast, please share it with your friends and give us some stars and write a review on wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you're interested in sponsoring Small and Gutsy to keep it going, please reach out to me at reachus@theintrinsicgroup.com. Happy New Year and stay healthy. I'm Laura, and thanks for listening.